Hello and welcome to part 2 of my watch collection video, and this video is about another 5 watches that are a little bit more niche, a little bit more quirky, and have a little bit more, they're a little bit under the radar, I say. We start with the first watch that I've really ever bought. In 2008 I got interested in watches and I bought this Seiko 5 at a flea market. It's a model from, I believe, 1992. And I bought this watch at that time for $2 because it wasn't running. I took it out of a box with 100 other broken watches in it, but it looked pretty nice and I thought, well, for $2 it can't be that bad. I got home, I opened the case back and I realized that there was a little piece of plastic, probably from the seal, stuck in between the balance. I removed it and the watch has been running ever since, and it has been probably my everyday watch through all of my time in school, and it really got me into this watch hobby. The next watch we are looking at is a Sekonda alarm watch. This watch is also from the 90s. Sekonda is a British manufacturer, but usually worked with Russian models, Russian parts. So this is a Russian polio movement, but it is really interesting because, as I said, it's an alarm watch. I've done a full review video on the function and the design of the watch separately, so you can watch that on my channel if you want. I link it down below. And yeah, that's a really interesting kind of retro modern piece. And I wear it occasionally. It doesn't get that much wear, but I keep it because I just find the technology behind it incredibly interesting. It works probably the same way that the Regent Memo Vox and the Vulcan Cricket works. So this is kind of a low budget version of a Cricket or a Memo Vox. It's nice, it's different, it's quirky, and it's beautiful in some way. I keep it, and it wasn't expensive, so I think you can buy these things for about $100 on eBay. They come up occasionally. Just set a search for it if you're interested. The next watch is a interesting piece because this is really something special to me. This watch was a gift, and this watch was a gift from a watchmaker. And when I became interested in watches in 2008, I did a 2-week work experience that was mandatory from school, and I decided to spend this 2 weeks of work experience as a watchmaker at a watchmaker that you probably all know, which is one of the biggest watchmakers in the world, or watch retailers in the world. And at that time I was 16 years old, so I really just barely got interested in watches. And at the end of that, this watch was a gift from one of these watchmakers that guided me through my work experience. And I'm never going to sell this one. It's an absolutely immaculate condition. It has never been polished. It never really got anywhere. It is still on the original strap that it came on. And yeah, it's really dear to my heart. I think there's an ETA movement in it. But with this watch, it really is the sentimental value that I share with it. And I wear it for special occasions, and from time to time I go back to that watchmaker and we talk about it. So that is beautiful. This watch is a 30mm Felca from the mid-1940s to the end 1940s. I don't really believe that this is from the 1950s. It is really on an old strap. It's still in the condition that I bought it. I found it at a flea market and I think I paid about $5 for it. They are not valuable in that sense, but they are very close to the watches that were worn in war, in World War II especially. And usually not exactly this kind of watches, because this one has a white dial, and what looks brown here is actually just the plastic glass underneath. Everything is fresh and the dial really actually is silver. And the movement on this watch is absolutely beautiful, and I just keep this as a time document. I don't really wear it. For me, this is a reminder that watches like these had a purpose, that they actually served their people, the people they wore them, and they did not have to be big. As I said, this is a man's watch. This is 30mm. This is precise, and it really has characteristics like that red seconds hand, where you see that this watch had a purpose. And the last watch is an interesting piece, and it also is a high point of my, watch collecting journey, because this is a Valjoux 23 ARSA Chronograph that I completely rebuilt. This is a restoration project. I found the movement, the bear movement with the dial and hands on eBay. It was in absolutely perfect condition, and I bought it, and then I sourced an original new old stock Valjoux 23 case and a beautiful steel beads of rice bracelet, and I completely rebuilt the chronograph and put it all back together. For me, this is the high point of my hobby, and this watch makes sure that I will forever, be interested in watches, and it's a beautiful classic example of a chronograph. This one is a beautiful example of a column wheel chronograph of a very traditional watch. I believe this watch would date back to the early 60s. Originally, this watch would have had a gold case, and that's exactly why only the movement survived, because at some point the case was melted down and the movement was left to rest, and it was up to me to find all the other parts and to rebuild it into something that works again and that has life again. It's beautiful because it's a 2-register chronograph that you see that is so desirable in the big brands. If you take either 2-register chronographs from Patek, from Rolex, or from other manufacturers. And I've included a little video of the movement here, and it's stunning. It's absolutely beautiful watchmaking. I believe that this watch dates to the early 60s, and yeah, this is, I'm gonna do a video on that soon, and I'm not sure if I'm gonna ever sell it. I think not. It's the first chronograph that I had, and it's also, interestingly, the first chronograph that I worked in, so this has sentimental value too. Thank you for watching this part 2 of my watch collection videos. If you haven't seen part 1, it's linked down below. Just go over and watch that too. There are some interesting pieces in it, a Rolex, an Omega, a IWC, and also a Baltic Aquascuff. So yeah, if you like this video, there are many more about watches on my channel. Just visit them too, and I see you on the next one.